Do I have permission to ask some personal questions today?
Yeah, we like this part.
Okay. So I'd like to know, how can I help people in QHHT to connect better to their higher self?
By being the example.
Yes.
To tell people doesn't dock as well as demonstrating by your countenance. If you spend more time consciously accessing and keeping your channel open where you are online with your higher self all the time, people in your presence will automatically resonate to the same place where their higher self exists, where yours is.
Okay.
Your accessing of your higher self now being your priority requires certain practices. Your water consumption and blessing assists greatly. If you can energize your water and make sure your electrical currents are always flowing through being hydrated with good quality water, the resonant being love, self-love, and gratitude integration into the water, then consuming with gratitude, that will help you find your way.
But I drink an incredible amount of water, like much more than normal people. Why is that?
Be careful of flushing. You may flush out your chemicals.
And what are those chemicals?
Electrolytes, which balance between the cells in and out, the natural homeostasis of your electrolyte and water balance must be intuited. You can go online with yourself. I mind go online with yourself and intuit where your balance is. If you are thirsty, you may not need more water, you may need salt or potassium general, but you will benefit from being more mindful when you consume water. There could be 3 people in your meditation. You, your higher self, the energy of the water. That integration will assist you greatly. That's a journey.
I seem to struggle a bit with meditation. Why is that?
Meditation is not sitting still for everyone.
Yes.
If you are trying to eliminate anything while meditating, you are trying. Trying is not meditating.
Yes.
Meditation for this one is staring at something and being present, no matter the thoughts that come up. It does not have to be a clear mind. It can be focus. Start with increasing the quality of your focus. Even if you do a task, you are practicing your focus, which is a muscle. Let's say you have a thought that you do not want to think about. You can practice when that thought comes up to eliminate that thought in the moment by transferring your focus onto something else. Let's say you don't want to think about being cut, so you think instead about a bunny. That deflecting from one thought to the other requires focus and concentration. That is a basic rudimentary tool to express focus. When you are focused, you take all the energy from everything that you could possibly do and you put it in one place, one pointed focus. That in itself is a meditation that allows access.
Yes.
That is the point, the allowing of access of higher self. It is not the same for everyone. You would just benefit from silence as well.
Yes. Okay. Is there any other tips on how I can help people connect to higher self, or is it mainly me connecting with my higher self? And then
Yes, always demonstration rather than instruction.
Yes. Okay.
You, by being online with your higher self, you cannot obstruct. You do not obstruct someone from accessing that frequency.
Yes.
It's the easiest way to do it.
I see. So why is it so easy for Claire to reach her higher self, but not others who come, some others that have come here?
She's been around a long time. She has the will, the desire, and nothing is unusual to her. In fact, it's the weirder the better.
Yes.
So there is an interest there where others are holding on to what they have been taught, which is not a problem. That is their path. It teaches you perhaps tolerance.
So are you saying it's these people have, some of the people that come here have fears and kind of programming, which also makes it difficult to access the higher self?
What you are doing for others is leagues away from their normal state.
Yes.
It's not a problem. It just requires time to bridge the gaps to what people perceive as normal. It will take time. There will be failures.
Yes.
Every person who comes here benefits you as much as you benefit them. If not in the session, days, weeks, or years later. There is no fail or defeat in any of the sessions that you do.
Yes.
You need to remember the mirror every time you enter a session.
Yes.
Every person is a reflection of you. What have you experienced in the last week that this person is showing you? What is the theme? If you can intensely analyze everyone from the perspective of them being you, you will understand their blockages better. You may have an underlying perception of yourself that you did not realize until they come in. Then they are saying something that irritates you or triggers you or inspires you. Either way, those are all reflections of things you either are or do not wish to be. Only you can know the intensity of how much they are reflecting you.
So how can I trust myself more in sessions in the future? And not doubt.
How much do you know yourself? If you are doubting yourself, then you are unaware of yourself. You don't know that you are there. So you are doubting that you are there. If you spend more time in your corners with your higher self, with your own relationship with yourself, clearing, accessing, enjoying, laughing at your own jokes, being okay with being the only one having the joke with yourself, you have this incredible relationship with the self. And anyone coming into your presence is now accessing your precious relationship with yourself.
Thank you very much. So how do we know if it's ego talking or higher self? Sometimes there's a mix.
You know, again, even if ego is talking, everyone needs their moment in the sun. Your ego talking to someone will respond with their ego, and that will be fine. The ego is equally as valuable as all the so-called spiritual aspects of the self. Anything out of balance causes an imbalance. And when it is out of balance, it returns to balance.
Yes.
It doesn't matter which comes first, who speaks loudest. At the end of the day, it will all be good. Your triggering, the ego speaking to someone will trigger theirs because that's what needs to happen.
So what is the purpose of the ego?
It helps you navigate this world. It's the word on the street. It's the savvy that you need so that you don't float away. It knows the 3D world. It assists you with desire and motivation. When it goes out of balance, there's indulgence, but again, that too has its place. Indulgence or imbalance or fear are all valid experiences. If you have decided as an integrated being, when all the aspects of you are one, which we all have intermittently, when you are deciding from that place to do a thing or to not do a thing, it is a valid experience. It is not out of balance.
Very good. Okay, so I know you get people who are more angelics or some are galactics or shamans. Which one am I kind of mostly related to?
You appear to also have a history as a record keeper. You deliberately choose to inhabit yourself here, perhaps because there is an awareness of your access.
What do you mean?
You have before been a keeper of information with privilege, a gatekeeper.
Yes.
Somewhere with the lords of karma. Therefore, you are doing that here again to repent. Before, in your role, there was no favor to another being. There was stoic self-service. This is not wrong. This is just a state of being. Here, you have the gift of doubt that becomes clear, where you are now questioning yourself and having a deepened evolutionary journey with the ego, the guide on the ground. Before, you had no need for any of that. You were all-knowing, yay or nay. You say what goes. There was no investment, merely a transactional experience. Here, in order to access that information, you have to work for it. You do not just have the information. You must go through the process of working through the self, of finding the joys of being, the rewards. Doubt is the gift. It forces you to keep searching and to work at it and to polish a tin until it shines. You are not automatically given the status you had before. Now it has a deeper value for you. Before, the value was unknown because it was the status quo, a given, a natural way of being. Now you must work for it. And of course, there is so much joy in that. Interestingly, the ego appears to be the irritating friend who eventually becomes the best friend.
And how does one befriend the ego?
Listen, just honor. If it brings fear, do not bash it away or deny or dismiss instantly. Give it the time that it deserves, because only through the integration, the realization of the equality of the aspects, is there harmony. The spiritual self is not higher. It does not know better. It cannot exist without the ego. There needs to be a place and a time for everyone to have their say. The round table is a good example. Everyone can say their say. So when it speaks, listen, acknowledge, thank, and then decide how to integrate. You can bring in assistance, it may help you to have a question and answer space with yourself. The ego will offer you something you can recognize. You would usually bat it away. Here instead you will say, I acknowledge you are feeling X. I acknowledge that you may be not seeing clearly. I acknowledge that I may not be seeing clearly, and then give options. If the ego is correct, then I should proceed A or B or C, and let them resonate with you which one feels healthy and comfortable. That process of acknowledging will assist you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the previous time you came here, you said that I shouldn't give away my power. What do you mean by that?
You were leaking energy. Here, you were in a space of disagreement at the time, which we see has shifted by each one expanding into their own space. Also, your cognitive dissonance with the aspects of the self prevented your integration, and integration is what allows your higher aspects to come in and online at all times. When you deny an aspect of yourself, ego or shadow or spiritual hubris, which too has its place, any denial of any of those makes the cake not whole. Allow, accept, laugh at, hug, join in all aspects of yourself, including the negative thoughts that you appear to think don't serve you. Merely by acknowledging and giving unconditional love to all aspects of yourself, you will dissolve what needs to be dissolved and integrate.
Very good. Okay, so I have some problems with self-confidence and public speaking. How can I overcome this?
Where do you want to speak publicly?
Well, I have to speak publicly for work and meetings and presentations, things like that. And also when I do Teams meetings, things like that. So I seem to always be pushed into having to public speak.
Confidence is easily accessed when you are integrated. An opposite of confidence is unawareness. When your limited self is standing alone in front of people and thinks that it is doing the job alone, there is a natural tendency for lack of confidence that is normal and healthy. When you know that your higher self comes online, you are not alone up there anymore. That is the basics. Further to that, the information that you have to give, your trust that the information is valuable, should assist you The people who hear the information need that information from you. They have a need. You fill a need. The aspect of the self in that regard doesn't even need to be there. They need, you give, the end. If you think people are thinking about you or judging you up there, they are not. They are thinking about their dinner later.
Yes, they're thinking about themselves, aren't they?
Always.
Yes.
No one is judging you. And even if they were, that has nothing to do with you. You just make sure that you give them the valuable information that you create. They will receive it or not. That is not your job. If you have a doubt about the information that you're giving, that is a different story. That is not self-confidence in public speaking. That is you engaging correctly with your information. If you have done that, there is nothing to worry about. 1 step, create information. 2 step, deliver information. The end. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Okay, I just want to know, where should I be living at the moment? Is this house the right place, or should we move?
The energy moved from here. Last time I was here, this was closed. There has been a movement of energy around you. You can start to think about what you need to expand yourself. You require sun and a place to put your feet quietly on the ground.
Yes. Which I can't do in either of those here because we have no sun and no
Yes.
soil. Dark house.
Your environment should inspire all the aspects of your contribution to this world. You contribute by an aesthetic design and in your countenance. Your being is what you contribute the most here. If your being is not grounded, watered, fed, and growing, you will not be at your maximum. Start to visualize what it will feel like to wake up in the morning. What does your room feel like? What does your passage feel like? What does the outside feel like? Do you have a dog? Is there space? Do you foster animals? Who lives there with you? What does your neighbor do? All of those things. Now, start to think about them. Once you do that, you will start to see many manifestations out there. Those many manifestations will be twofold. 1, reflections of what you do want. 2, reflections of what you definitely do not want. You may be invited somewhere. You will see one thing you like, one thing you don't. That is how you will start to map your next move. Always anchoring the feeling and the intention into your future.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anything diet-wise I should be letting go of now?
Your punishing discrimination against certain foods. You can mutate anything that is offered to you. Your relationship is tight. If you can practice receiving food as a gift of love, that will merely amplify your relationship with food. The intention is always the most important. Do not judge what is given to you.
Yes, because I don't cook for myself. My mom does, so I don't really have a choice.
There you go.
Okay.
Always what comes to you is love. Thank the peas, the fennel, the potato, the tomato, the water, the wood in the spoon that stirred. All of that.
Yes.
Gratitude and every moment spent with your mom here, because it is finite. Every memory of the meal will nourish you when she is no longer here. That relationship is tight.
Is there any advice on that relationship? It's much better now, but it's not perfect.
Patience, a tolerance. Don't be so hard on others. And in every moment, there is where you can practice your meditation. Where a thought of wishing one would do something different to what they are doing, instead, bring the memory. Look in 20 years' time when your mother may not be here, and count this as a flashback to your past, where you are grateful that she is still here. So travel to the future and look back, and there your gratitude will be amplified.
Yes.
Tolerance from your mother teaches you tolerance with everyone else.
Yes, including self.
You are hardest on yourself. Your desire to hone yourself is projected onto those around you, where you are intolerant, hard, unrelenting, unforgiving, only in your most triggered spaces.
Right.
And your irritation is not with them, it is with self.
Yes, you're right.
You are trying to be too much that you do not need to be. You are from an angelic space, but you are not allowing it. You are trying too much to control your perception of what you think you have to be, but you do not. It is not written. You have been gifted with being in a space full of minds that can explode any moment. You are so used to not needing to navigate that now in this incarnation you are too scared to step left or right in case it blows up, too tight, too controlling, too closed off to failure. relax, invite chaos, invite calamity even, invite things you cannot control. Watch them unravel you and rejoice in not reacting to it.
Yes. Very good. There's also some seers in my family, and I believe I also have that ability. Is that something that's in the future for me? I kind of have the ability to move on timelines, specifically back.
You are multi-dimensional and you can access any of those dimensions, and you have all of that potential. Which of your powers you would wish to focus on, you can. That is not in question. Your question is how much you become a conduit.
Yes.
You can do a damage to yourself and others if you are not clear enough. That is also not a problem. It's just arduous to backtrack and redo. You can go without that. But these things that we've spoken about, clearing yourself, relaxing about yourself, they will help you access those things to help others. Seeing things, shifting timelines, experiencing deja vu, which is the integration of all timelines. All of those things are most delighted in when they are giving benefit to others, when you are shining a light for others, and your relationship with others will improve when your relationship with yourself improves. And not is healed, but is looked at. Just resolve, declare, vow, create a spell, whichever way you wish to say, but orientate yourself in the direction of being gentler with the self, to know the self, and those other things will come online naturally when the person requiring that particular tool from you is in your presence, because you are resonating at the same frequency.
Okay. Thank you. Last time you also said that time is coming to an end at the end of the session. Why did you say that? Was it because my battery was dying, or just because the session was coming to an end?
The being one way for this one was finishing. There is now a new integration that will not go back.
Yes. For clear.
Yes.
Very good.
Also to add that it is that way for everyone, but not everyone is experiencing or expressing it in the same way. The energies everywhere here in this matrix paradigm have shifted, as they are shifting minute by minute, second by second. But as we're entering into this space, which appears to be in motion but is not, these individual moments are coded with higher vibrations. So accessing the moments gives us automatic access to higher vibratory states by default. But not everyone is high and is experiencing a higher high. Some are very low and now are just experiencing low. some are experiencing opposites. Either way, it is a frequency that brings about change, large, rapid change, and it may not be accessed necessarily. Sometimes someone may have experienced the change as they have drifted into the new paradigm, but all it does is exacerbate fear. And so it appears that life is worse, and yet we know that when something is exacerbated, it is being brought to the light, to be worked on, to be looked at, to be moved out.
Yes.
And so it's different for everyone. Energy has moved, time has finished in that paradigm.
I see.
We are now in a new, bigger paradigm.
Okay. Okay, I just have a question for Jeanette, one of my friends. She's going through a divorce now, and her husband is accusing her of rape because she's denying him custody of the son, of their son. Do you have any advice for her?
She has chosen to deny him custody because she is scared of leaving the child alone with him.
Exactly.
She must remain calm and know that her intentions, if they remain purely focused on protecting the child, all will be well. When she gets into details, minutia, accusation, defensive, offensive, that is when the defense that she has unravels. If she remains with 3 sentences stating her intention calmly, appealing to anyone who can understand the ideals of protecting a child, she cannot go wrong. If he accuses her, that accusation should fall like flowers in the wind to the floor. They must not trigger her. No words or accusations or intentions from him should trigger her. She must remain calm, calm, calm. Nothing that he can say or do should penetrate. Her calm reassurance and trust that her protection of her child will prevail, will be enough.
Okay. Anything else for Jeanette?
Do not react.
Okay.
Understand. Understand. A man who is having everything taken away from him is in a space of animalistic fear. His entire identity is being stripped. And if one subscribes to narcissistic tendencies and your identity is stripped, you have nothing to stand on. You are no thing. That is something that someone with a narcissistic tendency will defend. And they will defend it in any way, blindly. They do not care who they hurt in the way. These people are the most hurt of all. The ones who do the most damage are the ones who are hurting the most.
Yes.
Advice is to understand that that is what's happening with him. No matter how many atrocities he has committed, if she can find in her heart, and we highly recommend this, that she will still be able to love and respect and honor his divine being, having a very hard time, and still see that as someone experiencing that. Just to hold that in her heart. She does not need to express it to him or to the child or to a court or to a friend. No one. Just hold that understanding. At the end of this life, when we all return to a golden source, there he will be apologizing, and she will say, no need to apologize, I understand.
Yes.
If you can have that space now, there will be much less pain in the heart and much easier to remain calm. However, still to remain like a mother lion protecting the cub at all costs. Calmly, knowing that that is what is going to prevail. Pity, sympathy, love, understanding, respect, compassion for the other who is dying a small death. Even through that experience, there is no communicating with a being in that space. They are in a hell realm of their own making that they must go through in order to be reborn. Do not give fuel to that fire. Do not give fuel to that fire. Remain calm, which may appear to be fuel, but it will burn itself out. Smile, love, bow your head, acquiesce. Do not resist. Merely protect.
Thank you very much. So the last time I spoke to you, you said Claire was part of a federation. It seemed to be was it the Federation of Light?
A freelancer in all aspects, lending experience here, there, and everywhere. What councils have been, they have a report from her.
Okay, I see.
She does not take missions and limit her existence.
Yes.
On Telseti, where there is limited access and record keeping, she volunteered to go.
I see. Okay.
By default, a rogue, not afraid, has gained an authority merely by a wealth of experience and racking up more than many in terms of variety, therefore unfazed and not belonging to anyone or holden to anyone, but free as a bird and ready to give to anyone who requires it. At times there have been requests for information, and she has either delivered said information, gathered information, or experienced in order to acquire information wherever it has suited her, wherever she has felt an interest.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I've been making contact with the Federation in other sessions. Is there maybe a message that the Federation of Light has at the moment for humanity?
We do not speak on behalf of that federation. There has been investment over time in many places where it has been suitable. There has been a docking in. Now, all investment is in the Earth's current experience of moving to the next level. Therefore, a higher authority is not interesting to us. There has been many alignments where information gathered here is given to a council, but that council does not rule. The council assists where they do not interfere, and also don't have a strong hold over how things go. If there has been a crossing over into other existences that these humans have affected, then they will step in to temper the edges here or there, but have no overarching desire to see something go one way or the other. The larger wish is for evolution, but it is not 100% happy, clappy desire for everyone to be in paradise. That would be boring. That would be like the first life we experienced. Nothing's happening here. So there is a watching over to make sure that nothing gets spilt over the edges unnecessarily. But there isn't a big agenda. There is an interest watching and learning from the evolutionary process. Everyone is here. Everyone has a front row seat. They're all eating their popcorn. But there is no one way.
Yes, very good. All right, so we're almost coming to the end of our session now. The door has just opened. I don't know why. Do you have any last message for me today?
You are doing so well, but you are sometimes like a rock. Be more like the wind. The balance between the two. You shine and smell sweeter and glow and spread much more when you are lighter. Let go of such a tight grip. It's all fine. It's all fine. And those things that you do well, celebrate them.
Yes.
And love yourself for that. Pat yourself on the back for that. And enjoy that process, for soon it will be gone. And gone as a memory as well as a physical experience. These moments are gone, 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 gone. And you are not stopping to smell those roses.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, is there any last words? Or are we complete today?
Something smells good.
Yes. Okay.
Lucky you.
Thanks.